Jennifer, I'm super excited about this conversation. I've been doing a lot of research, reading your website, your career, and there's a line in your bio. I think you tell your story really well. And there's a line that caught my attention. Beastmode Jen to Zen Jen. So I'd like to know what's the difference between both and how did you make that transition?
Gosh, that's a loaded question, kind of sort of, because Beast Mode Jen was all that Jen ever knew. So growing up, being a high performance athlete my whole life, basically, started out cheerleading, then softball, then basketball, and then volleyball. So I played volleyball or basketball all throughout life. Basketball is my number one sport. Summer AAU. So if anybody's familiar with AAU basketball, so I'd be playing my regular season basketball, and then AAU, we'd be traveling all over the South region because I'm from Alabama originally. So we'd be in Tennessee, Florida, just everywhere playing ball. And so, and then I went off to school to play volleyball collegiately for a couple of years. And that's literally all I've known is just being active, and I thought I was going to go to school for basketball, but I went for volleyball. And then after a while, I was just like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. My body needs a break. After playing volleyball for a couple of years, I had left Alabama to move to Miami, and that's a whole story. Lived there for a long time. And then, the athlete in me, after stopped playing volleyball, I still needed a way to compete. And so when I was in Miami, I was going to the gym still to stay active. I was back in school, finishing school rather. And I saw these women at the gym and they had these amazing sculpted bodies. And I was like, I want that. Cause I already kind of had the frame, right? And I was like, I think I could do that, athletic frame. Let's take it up a notch. Let's do some bodybuilding. And it was like a competition, not really it's a competition with myself, really, because I needed a form to compete. And bodybuilding was that avenue for me during that time. And beast mode, if you know anything about bodybuilding, it's beast mode, right? Like you're going to the gym, you're doing 2-a-days, you're working out in the morning, doing fasted cardio, drinking your gallons of water and all of this stuff. And and then I became a personal trainer. And so it was just all of these things that I've known to do my whole life. But then it just didn't make sense to me and my body needed a break. And so I stopped bodybuilding, one, because that sport is very subjective. Like it's like you're winning a trophy, but like who's judging and what are they judging based on? It's like, okay, whatever. So, I didn't feel like, wearing my body down so much to the point for just getting a trophy. I did want to be a sponsored athlete. But I saw the ins and outs and the behind the scenes of that, and that didn't fit well with my my spirit. And so I was like, that's not the route for me. But actually, fun fact, Lee Haney was my mentor. So if anybody knows about bodybuilding and Lee Haney was my mentor back in the day. Shout out Lee. And he's amazing. Like Lee Haney is amazing, great mentor. And he's still doing great. But it was just like, I knew I just didn't want to go down this route anymore. I didn't have that dedication to really dedicate myself to get to that next level because for me, I didn't see a point in it. So long story short, I was bodybuilding during that personal training during that time. That's when I started my business, was personal training, because people saw my transformation. They're like, Jen, help me. And I'm like, I was like, I don't know. And it's funny because it's crazy because what I'm doing now is what I've always envisioned for myself. Because I always knew, like 10th grade, sitting in English class, I was like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm not going to be sitting at a desk, working for someone or whatever. I just always knew in my spirit, this is what I was going to be doing. I didn't know I was going to be starting it through the personal training route, but that's how it started. And started my business, in Miami, personal training. And that's really, well, the seed was planted. I know you're asking me how to go. I'm telling you the long story to it all, because it is kind of a long story, because to go from beast mode.
That's perfect.
Okay.
You got time.
To go from Beastmode Jen to Zen Jen, it's a 10-year journey, basically more than 10 years, a 12-year journey, right? And so, but the seed was planted. I got to go back a little bit to college volleyball. When my, college coach, she wouldn't allow us to have fast food or soda during the season. Mind you, when I was playing in high school, me and my friends would go to Burger King all the time and just, Burger King after high school, everybody meet up, you're eating your Burger King and that's what it was. But then when I got to college, she was like, we're putting a stop to that, right? And that was really when the seed was planted for me that what you put into your body impacts your performance on the field. And so come full circle to JEnuine Nutrition, because we're going to actually put a pause on that, because that statement and that kind of awareness or aha moment is what kind of led me to do JEnuine Nutrition. So long story short, after bodybuilding and personal training, I said my body needed a break. And I figured out that working out was not the answer, because in that break, I took 2 years off from working out. This is me going from working out, 5, 6, 7 days a week to literally taking 2 years off and not working out consistently, maybe 3 times a week, 1 or 2 times a week. And that's when I started to realize that, working out is not the answer. It's only 5% of the equation. In that time, I also healed myself from debilitating cycles, because I've always had debilitating cycles, menstrual cycles, and I couldn't figure out what it was, because I've always been healthy, right? So I'm healthy, I'm working out. So why am I having debilitating cycles? And then my spirit told me, like, it's something to with your diet. It's something that you're eating. And so I did an elimination diet, took that out, took chicken out. And ever since then, I don't have any issues, like night and day, literally, through an elimination diet. And so it was all of these, it's a culmination of things that led to Zen Jen, because I realized the way that I was living and the way that society tells us to live in regards to losing weight and getting fit and being healthy is really the complete opposite of what we should be doing. And so once I took that 2 years off, I had another aha moment that, it's really about what you put into your body, and working out is only 5% of the equation, especially me going from a top performing athlete to not working out at all. When you see athletes who, they've been top performing and they gain weight when they're inactive, right? But they're not watching what they're eating. They're not watching their stress levels and all of those other kind of things. I went 2 years and I maintained my weight. I'm actually 5 to 10 pounds of my high school weight right now. So it's literally not diet and exercise. And back to the point where, the aha moment back in college, and that's, with JEnuine Nutrition, I realized and that's why I rebranded and restructured my business. Let me say that, when I moved here to Houston, because I stopped personal training, because I started, teaching my clients that's more about how you're living versus working out, because working out is the easy part. Everybody can work out. So in that 2 years time, I, like we talked about earlier, went walking in nature, did my yoga, Pilates, been practicing yoga for like 6, 7 years now. And that's been, long story short, like my journey from Beastmode Jen to Zen Jen, and being more in tune with who I really am and not following the crazy, whatever diet and fitness industry and go, go, go and all of that mentality, which we can talk about later too. But yeah, that's the journey. It's a long journey, and it's it's a lot in there for sure.